Should you build your own community? You know you've been thinking about it, right? Should you build a community on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube? Should you build a community to support your hobby, to support your business? Well, there are a bunch of pros and a bunch of cons. I did that 12 years ago. I started my own community on LinkedIn. It's still a very intimate community of about 15,000 super engaged people. There have been a lot of pros, a lot of cons, and I'm going to share some of them with you. How about I share 5 cons and 5 pros? I'm going to start with the cons because I want to end on a high note, the positive, the pros. Okay? And the reason I'm making this video today is because people have asked me all through these 12 years, first of all, how I did it and whether I would recommend that they do it. So first, the cons. It's a huge time suck, right? You've got a busy business, you've got a family, you've got, whatever it is that you do in your life, sports, travel, whatever it is. This is a huge time commitment, and it can be a huge time suck, especially at the beginning when you're doing it on your own. That's con number 1. Con number 2, it's basically an unpaid job, let's be real. And although people will try to hold you accountable like it's your full-time job. Number 2, you got to moderate the thing, right? You got to be there every single day. Why? Because there's a lot of noise. People will post anything. It might not be relevant to whatever topic you've decided to center your group around, and you do have to center it around something, and I'll address that in another video. But for today, you've got to realize that if you start this thing, you've got to stick with it, and you've got to be there to moderate it every day and delete the noise, delete the chatter, delete all the inappropriate stuff, delete all the stuff that gets in the way. So that's con number 2. Con number 3, if you're like me and you like to travel, I travel a month, 3 months, 5 months. What are you going to do? Not everywhere that I travel has good internet or reliable internet. What are you going to do if you're traveling and you don't have internet and all of a sudden you're abandoning your group for 2-3 weeks? Now, of course, there are solutions to this. I did find solutions to this. You can get a kid to moderate. You can get one of your group members to moderate. A lot of possibilities, but it's still something you have to think about. So again, it's a huge time commitment. Number 4, and this is probably one of the strongest reasons, 4 and 5, it's super risky. It's super risky. Why is it risky? Because you are building your castle on somebody else's land, right? Like for me, it's LinkedIn. Maybe for you, it's Facebook or wherever you decide to build this community. If LinkedIn decides all of a sudden that I have violated, their many changing every minute rules, and they decide to throw me in LinkedIn jail or whatever the equivalent of that is, or they decide to boot me off, it's happened to people, right? That their accounts have been deleted. All this work, all this 12 years in my case of work would be gone. So you got to be super careful about that. Okay, so it's risky. And number 5, even riskier. Let's say you're perfect and you're a choir girl, right? You do everything right. And then all of a sudden LinkedIn says, you know what? Groups aren't really that profitable for us and we don't really need them. They keep threatening every few years, or intimating, not threatening, intimating that they might get rid of them, and all of a sudden all the group leaders panic. It could totally happen. Once again, you're building your castle on somebody else's land. You're building your castle on quicksand. So those are the 5 cons that come immediately to mind. There are many more. But the pros. There are many pros, and I'm just going to scratch the surface of the pros. But number 1 is probably the most obvious. You can get clients assuming you're in business, right? I've got many clients from my group on LinkedIn. You can get clients on Facebook. You can get clients in whatever community, or maybe you can even do a live community. I have no experience with creating live communities, but people create dance communities. They create singing communities, all sorts of things. So we're going to stick today to the online, but you can attract clients and then you can sell them stuff, right? You can sell them your courses, your books. I just shipped off a couple of books the other day to a longtime group member. Group members have bought my programs. They've hired me for one-on-one coaching. So that is a really big pro. Number 2, you can attract publicity, right? You can attract speaking engagements because you're visible. Number 3, it elevates your influence in the marketplace. It elevates your status in the marketplace because you're the leader, right? It's your stage. You own the stage. People have to ask you if they're not sure. Can I post this? Can you help me publicize this? Can you this? Can you that? So you're all of a sudden elevated. You're the person who has the stage. You know, instead of trying to audition to be on somebody else's stage, people are trying to audition to be on your stage. It's a nice situation to be in. And LinkedIn at least has a feature now, and I'm sure Facebook does too, and many other online communities, where as the community leader, you can just press a button and send a message to all of them, right? Maybe they're not in your on your email list, right? And by the way, back to the con that I mentioned a few minutes ago about you're building your community on quicksand. I am very aware of this. So every once in a while, I do a little push to get the members of my Step Into the Spotlight group on LinkedIn, the 15,000 plus members, to get them on my email list, right? So that at least I have another way of contacting them and staying in touch with them. And I just explain it to them. I say, you know, if LinkedIn disappears tomorrow, I still want to be in touch with you. Come on over here and give me your email. And people do. And the 5th plus is that, okay, think of it like this. There's this big gushing river, right, of prospects, of people, of whatever. And somebody else has gathered these people that creates this big rush, this big river. And if you open or start your own community, you get to put your toll booth. You don't put toll booths on rivers. Highway? Okay, mixed metaphors. But you, let's say it's a highway. I like to think of it as a gushing river. Okay, if it's a river, you get to put up a refreshment stand in the middle of the gushing river, and people stop on their canoes and their boats and they buy your lemonade, right? On the highway, you get to put your toll booth on somebody else's highway, right? You get to meet these, and I'm not suggesting that these are paid communities, although some of them are. I don't do that. I don't even know if you're allowed to on some of these. I don't know if you're allowed to on LinkedIn. I know people do that on Facebook. But it doesn't matter. You get people into your world, into your wicked web, and then you can market to them for the end, you know, for the rest of your life. So those are 5 huge pros. And I guess the 6th pro, it's fun. It is fun. It's fun to get to know people. And I do get to know people when they come into town. I get to know them online. I've actually made some really, really good friends from my LinkedIn group. So those are a few pros. Those are a few cons. If you're thinking about starting your own group, put it in the comments, you know, the topic that you're thinking of doing, the audience that you're thinking of addressing, if you're thinking of doing it on LinkedIn, on Facebook, somewhere else. Let us know what you're thinking about, and if you have concerns, what those concerns are, and maybe other people can address your concerns, and I would be happy to answer them as well. Keep your eye out. If you give it a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, which I'm sure you've already done. But if you do that, especially if you subscribe, you will get a notification when my next video comes out, which will be about how to do this, how to do it in the most effective way. This is something I've been interviewed about a lot. Because our group, unlike most of the groups out there, a lot of people think that LinkedIn groups are completely dead, and in many circumstances they are. I actually had a group leader who was thinking of ditching his much larger than mine group until I gave him the few tips that I'm going to give you in the next video, and he brought it back to life, and he's still thanking me to this day. So put a comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Sufit out.